Just in case any of you don't know, I'm Glenn Poole, CEO of the Australian Men's Health Forum. Just to make sure you're not at the wrong meeting, this is the National Men's Health Awards, and we're announcing today the winners in Queensland and the Northern Territory. As we travel around the country in this virtual way, we have been asking our board members from around the country to come along. I have to say, at the moment, whilst we've got two staff in Queensland, that's you can tell from the accents that I'm the Queenslander, and also Sharon here down in Hervey Bay, and I'm up between Bundy and Gladdy. So we've got a strong Queensland contingent, and also we haven't got a Northern Territory board member, I have to say, though our president, New South Wales based, is actually a real proper Ridgy-Didge fair dinkum as a Queenslander. So, Mr. Greg Milan, I'm going to invite as our president and as our official Queenslander on the board to officially open today's event. Thanks for being here, Greg.
Yeah, thank you, Glenn. Firstly, I'd like to show my respect and acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land, this amazing land we're all meeting on today, and pay my respects to them and their culture, and to the elders past, present and emerging. Yeah, I'm pretty excited about this. I am a Queenslander, born in Rockhampton, raised in Brisbane. So I'm pretty excited about this. The remnant of my family, or the members of my family, are in Bundaberg right at the moment. So this is great to be part of the Queensland Awards and the Northern Territory Awards as well. I was just reminiscing in one of the rooms about not getting up to Darwin for a while, and we were all so happy that Darwin's opened up its borders. So hopefully there'll be people travelling around the country again. But welcome along to all of you, and I'm getting excited because I don't know who's up for nominations in either state, in state and territory. But Gladys going to show us that.
Great. Thank you, Greg. And I want to acknowledge also traditional owners of the lands where I'm joining you from today, which is the Gureng, the Gurang, the Bunda and Belai mob here between what we call Gladstone and Bundaberg. So let's begin. What we're going to do is make sure that each and every one of you gets an opportunity to say a little bit about what you're doing, because we've got a nice, small, intimate team. I guess we're not going to have representatives from every organisation that's nominated, but if at any time you sort of feel that you can speak of a particular organisation and want to acknowledge them, please jump in, because the next 45 minutes is all about celebration and acknowledgement. So we'll talk about men's health. For those who don't know, the Australian Men's Health Forum dates back at least 25 years to the 1995 National Men's Health Gathering in Melbourne. It has been in various forms since then and aims to bring together not just people who are looking at health from a medical perspective, whilst that's obviously important, but people are looking at all of life. So what we say is any individual or organisation that's working in some way to improve the lives or the health of men and boys is a men's health organisation, which is why we have this great diversity of like sheds and organisations working with dads. And I was just on a Zoom event with 4 blokes who work with young men in different ways. So loads of different ways of working with men and boys to improve their health, their lives, which we know has a positive knock-on effect and improves their health. So let's get to it. We're going to start in the Northern Territory, and I'm going to do this to start off with by actually I'm going to share my screen on Zoom, but in case you're not familiar with Zoom, let me just let you know about a couple of features. If you haven't used it before, hover your cursor over the bottom of your Zoom square, and you'll find some icons at the bottom there. Usually, there's a chat feature, so you can say hello in the chat box there. say congratulations, share contact information, and so on and so forth. There's also a button called the participant buttons. So if you click on those, in the top right-hand corner, you'll find your own name. You can mute yourself. You can turn your camera on and off. And you can also rename yourself. If you click on them, if you hover over your name and find the More button, you can rename yourself. So a lot of people come in as, you know, iPad 74. And unless your mum and dad had a really weird sense of humor, I'm guessing that's not your name. So you can use that button there, the More button, to rename yourself. And you can call yourself Sir, whatever you want. Give yourself whatever, King of wherever, if you like, or just add your organization name or your area of the country or whatever. Entirely up to you how you name yourself. It's your choice. Just keep it clean, please, Justin. So mentioning just randomly picking a name, just randomly picking a name from the room. So let's go. And then the other feature, which is quite useful, is because what you can't get here is you can't get applause because it just doesn't work in the same way that it works in real life. But you can do virtual applause. You can be, if you can be seen, you can do all of these things. But also, there's a couple of icons down in the bottom bar again. There's a reactions button. Got a smiley face and a plus face, and it's quite nice to give a clap or do a thumbs up. If you dig deep into this system, you can find things like a thumbs down, but I'm not going to tell you where that is because we'll have none of that today. We'll only have these and these and these. Thank you very much. Because it's a day of celebration. Okay, an acknowledgement. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen now. And for those of you who've got eyes on me, which is most of you, I think, you will be able then to see the list of the shortlist for the different categories in the Northern Territory. So here we are. So what we've done, Men's Health Awards is something we started about 7 years ago now, one of our national men's health gatherings. And for a few years, it was that thing that we did at the dinner, at the gathering. And, you know, the 200, 300 people who came to the gathering would go to the awards. But it didn't really have any reach outside of the gathering much. So last year, for the first time, we thought, well, what would it be like if we took it on the road? And so we looked at doing some state and territory awards, just one category for each state and territory, to see if there was enough projects out there to actually justify doing it at that level. And we got about 60 nominations, and then we did a public vote for the first time, and we got nearly 3,000 people voted. And we thought, wow, that's something, but it'll be hard to repeat. We're going to just end up giving awards to the same people if we keep doing this every year. But we gave it another go this year, and we even thought, well, it'd be quite interesting to do a wider range of categories. We thought we probably won't get an entry for each category in every state and territory, but at least we'll have a go. But we have. All 5 categories, we've got nominations from every state and territory. And we've done a public vote. And so where last year we had about 60 nominations, this year over 100. Last year, nearly 3,000 people voted. This year, over 5,000 people voted. So interest in this initiative is growing quite exponentially year on year. And we're finding through this process, new people, new projects that we weren't aware of. It's very hard as a national organisation to keep connected to all the great work that's happening at a local level. And part of what this is about is actually identifying and connecting with more people doing fantastic work to improve the lives and health of men and boys. And we've got 5 categories. And today what we're going to do is simply announce one overall winner, the organisation or individual who's received most public votes. And they will be the People's Vote winner for Queensland and the People's Vote winner for Northern Territory. However, the game's not up, because for every single person and organisation shortlisted today, there's still the chance to win the category they're in at a national level. So you might not win the People's Vote for Queensland or Northern Territory, but someone here today could be the National Local Men's Health Hero or the National Best Men's Lived Experience Speaker. And that will be decided on by a panel of judges to balance out any kind of unfairness for people who just got very large families and are able to get lots of people to vote on them. So we want to recognise that popular recognition, people who can, get hundreds of votes from a broad range of people. But we also want to apply a more sort of a more considered way of looking at projects by having a judging panel. And we think that's probably balancing those two is probably the fairest thing we can do. So let's start. We're going to start with the Local Men's Health Hero Award. And this is to acknowledge individuals who are really taking a stand over a period of time for men and boys in their community, whether that's like a particular population, like Aboriginal men, or in a particular town, a city, or a particular age of men, like older men, or whatever. But someone who's like, you know, really clearly dedicated and doing this year in, year out. So we have, and there's lots of those around the country actually, but we have two shortlisted for the Northern Territory. And I can't see everyone in the room. I don't know if Jason Bonson's here or anyone who's worked with Jason. If you're knock off your mic and say hi if you know Jason, or if Jason's here. Okay, so I'm going to acknowledge Jason. I know Jason personally. He's been on the men's health scene for many years, both nationally, but most significantly in the Northern Territory. I'm just checking any messages I'm getting there. Chat. I'm going to get the chat box up as well. Okay, so working in the Men's Health Strategy Unit with the NT government, but also, probably more importantly, being instrumental in setting up the Darwin Indigenous Men's Service. Jason's a name that comes up over and over again, is super connected to people working in men's health, always a champion, always the first person that people go to when they think of men's health in the Northern Territory. And on a personal level, always a support, always a help, keeps a small national organisation like ours connected in some ways to what's going on in places which are harder to reach from the East Coast, like the Northern Territory, and an absolute deserved nomination and I'm really pleased to see Jason's name on this list.
And Jason's also been a past board member of MHF for about 2 or 3 years.
Thanks, Greg. Yeah, and that's long before I was involved, which shows just how long Jason's been around doing this important work. We've got Ira Racine from who's been doing some work with Headspace. Is anyone able? Is Ira here? Or anyone who knows Ira? Okay.
I know Ira.
Thanks. Go ahead. Can you say a couple of words about his work? Why?
Yeah, I'll just bring the camera up 1 second. He's just died on me. Yeah, I know Ira very well. Ira and I have been talking since I started with Mates, and Ira is an absolute champion in pushing forward with Headspace's movement and looking after the youth. But he's also a champion for young blokes as well. And just to sort of experience with Ira, I had a younger guy who fell sort of underneath that sort of level that we normally work with Mates, the apprentice and stuff. He was a bit younger than that. And it was something that was a bit more out of my sort of depth. And I just rang Ira straight away and said, Ira, what do I do here? And he's just instrumental in knowing what to do, how best to use language that would be appropriate. And he also said, look, I can make sure that the referral comes through quicker and all that sort of good stuff. And he's always, if he can make it to barbecues, he will. He leads a bunch of peer workers in Darwin at a Headspace there. And he just is, he's just an exponential worker in that field. And I know Ira really well. And right. I love the fact that he got a nom today. So awesome.
That's great. Thanks, Matt. And this is, one of the reasons why we do these awards we want to acknowledge those that we're aware of and know are doing great work, but we also want to hear about new people. And these nominations come out of people in the Northern Territory saying this is someone in our community that we think needs to be acknowledged. So that's great to see. So we'll move on to men's best lived experience speaker. Part of having this category is about actually acknowledging that we want to hear men's voices. We want to hear men's experiences. There's a story that men don't talk, but at the same time, we get told that men mansplain and men talk too much. So actually, there's a real challenge in actually making it really normal in society for men to share their stories of their struggles and their triumphs, and supporting lived experience speakers, whether that's guys who've had mental health challenges or come through prostate cancer, or come out the other side of like a breakup and still being struggling to be a dad, but now they're building a new relationship with their family. Any kind of stories like that, it's really important to hear those stories, to normalize them, and to make so we can understand what the experience is and how we can actually better serve and support men going through those things. So Jai Cardona is more than just a lived experience speaker, because some people it's about telling the story, which is really important, but some people it's also about actually changing things and shaping services. And what we're hearing about Jai, I think I met Jai up in Darwin last year when the Life Itself movement, which is the project he set up, got nominated. I'm just going to check in if anyone knows Jai or if Jai's here. Lacey, are you moving to unmute yourself? Because go ahead.
I am. Sorry. Yes, I do know Jai. So Jai does a lot of work up here. The work that I do know is that he does a lot of development with young people. He has been part of the Darwin Youth Action Group development over the last year, which has formed a lot of activities after school, during school, alternative education for young people, especially young boys. And he is a very strong voice within the Aboriginal community, bringing forth a strong voice from a younger generation, and does a lot of great work at Red Cross as well. I know he does heaps more, but that's what I know of him. And all the young people really look up to Jai in the community. So, yeah, it's great to see he's been nominated.
Thanks, Lacey. Yeah, we're hearing great things, and I understand that he's also getting involved now with the Darwin Indigenous Men's Service, which brings us nicely on to. Hello, we're getting a bit of reggae kind of feedback there. Just checking where that's coming from. Okay, thanks. Yeah, so which brings us on to, and I think that says Darwin Indigenous Men's Shed. I think it should say Darwin Indigenous Men's Service. Different things. So the Darwin Indigenous Men's Service, DIMS, sorry for that typo there, which has been around for many years. Is anyone here from the Darwin Indigenous Men's Service? I don't want to be speaking from Queensland about the great work that's happening in NT. I know Jason and Warren, and I think Damien Mix, the new chair there, Joey Bonson, and I've heard that Jai's joining the board as well, so there's a connection. Okay, so I'm going to attempt to be the person to speak on behalf of the Darwin Indigenous Men's Service from the grassroots up, with not a great deal of funding, doing amazing work for Aboriginal men in local in Darwin. Been around for years. One of those organisations that doesn't come and go because it's got funding top down from the government. It's there because it's rooted in the community, and every single man involved is committed to making a difference to the men that they work with. They get men from the justice system. They get men doing it tough in so many different ways, and provide support, provide healing, point them in the right direction, and are a fine example of what men's work and men's health work is all about. So next we've got the City of Palmerston, who've been nominated for the work they did putting on an International Men's Day in November. I know you're there. Have you got sound? Yes, go ahead.
Hi guys, sorry, we were having technical difficulties. We have the feed coming through that we can hear you, but our laptop didn't have a microphone, unfortunately. So I've jumped on my phone and come out into the foyer, so hopefully it doesn't clash and cause any bad sounds. But no, we had an amazing event up here in Palmerston. It was really exciting to get City of Palmerston involved and to hold our first ever International Men's Day event. We really love collaborations in our community, so we got a whole bunch of people involved, and I did leave my piece of paper in the room, so I'm going to do my very best to acknowledge everybody that helped out. So we collaborated with our Youth Drop-In Sports program that is run by PABA, the Palmerston and Regional Basketball Association. They get roughly 100 plus kids in there every afternoon, providing free sports activities for our youth. So we thought that was a great opportunity to work with those kids and highlight who all our strong male mentors were in the community. So we worked together and got all of our organisations to take group photos of all the strong leaders in their spaces so that we could create this collection of posters that obviously highlighted who our strong male role models were and also what organisations they were connected to, so young people could then go and source them out as they need them. We also had Food Bank on board, so they provided us with a fantastic barbecue afternoon tea, and we had chicken burgers and a whole bunch of really healthy afternoon tea options, because that's always a draw card for our kids. Clontarf, the Boys Academy, came down and helped out on the barbecue with Food Bank and got that happening. We had organisations like the No More campaign and Towards Zero. They came along and shared really important information about road safety and obviously violence, domestic violence. So it was really great to have them on board. We also had Headspace come along, and Ira, who we nominated as one of our strong male role models in the community, especially when it comes to supporting mental health, who actually is here. So if we want to flip back to Ira in a minute, he has finally arrived. Sorry, we did have some timing difficulties as well. And then just lastly, to acknowledge, we had some local barbers come along. And so Germano, who is a part of our library team, hooked up with these guys, and they came along and did free haircuts for young people and men who also attended in the community. And that was a huge hit. So all in all, it was just an amazing day to bring a whole bunch of organisations together, create awareness that there actually is an International Men's Day, because we do such a great celebration for International Women's Day. I think it's super important that we highlight men, and what a great way to highlight those health issues as well while we're doing it. So I just want to shout out to everybody that collaborated. City of Palmerston, we really know how to do that well, and it is a strength for us in our services and our community. So thank you, everybody, and thank you whoever nominated us. We're very much appreciative.
Oh, great. Thanks. I didn't catch your name.
Amanda.
Amanda, thanks so
I'm
much.
the Community Development Officer for Youth Sports and Rec.
Yeah, right. We've been emailing Amanda Stevens. Yeah, great. Go. So thanks. So look, I just want to really acknowledge, the council, but through you for taking that on. That you're quite right. So many organisations now do fantastic work on International Women's Day. And the same is not true on International Men's Day. And there are 500 plus councils all around the country. It's a fantastic opportunity for the government at a local level to actually reach out and say men in our community are important. And so if we can highlight in some small way the work that you've done, hopefully that can inspire other councils to do more. And in a year or 2 or 3 years, there'll be 10 councils or 20 councils or 50 councils around the country doing it, and you won't be on your own so much. So I think we'll see if we can do a little case study on what you've done and see if we can find ways to make more councils aware of that a few months ahead of International Men's Day this year, which is on the 19th of November, folks. Start planning now.
Sounds awesome.
Yes. Now, did you say Ira is there?
Yes. I will just quickly pop around the corner and call him out if you wanted to.
Yeah, I'll just do another. When you've got him, give me a wave.
He's coming now. Do you want to do someone else and then come back, or?
Yeah, no, let's do it now.
Okay.
This is live. This is live Zoom TV, folks. Hey, look.
Hi, everyone. How are you?
Ira, you're broadcasting to the nation. Please don't swear.
No, absolutely not. Hi. I guess. Sorry, I'm just. I didn't prepare anything. I'm just a little bit suddenly anxious. So for anyone who hasn't, doesn't know me, my name's Ira. I'm the team leader for community engagement, representing Headspace Darwin. So I guess this nomination was quite a surprise. So it's really good to find out who actually put the nom in, which is lovely. But a bit of context about around my I guess, role within Headspace. So doing community engagement, myself and my team, we go out to schools quite regularly, or organizations supporting young people. We'll go out and provide mental health and wellbeing literacy sessions. So within the connections and relationships that we build, we have access to quite a wide demographic, and obviously nourishing young men in particular. So we'll work alongside either teachers or organizations just to try and best meet the needs of the young people that we're working with. I do have a special interest in the LGBTIQA plus space, identifying as a gay male myself. So I do also facilitate a space for young people who would identify as gender or sexuality diverse, just as a safe space for them to connect with other young people, but also providing them with information, also acknowledging some of the significant challenges that they might experience identifying as gender or sexuality diverse. So it's a really great space to work in. I have Amanda to thank you for being so supportive. And yeah, it's totally wild to be part of this network and being nominated for this event. So thank you.
Great. You're very welcome. Your name showed up loud and proud when we asked people in our network in the NT who we should be acknowledging. And so thank you for what you're doing.
Oh, thank you.
Very well.
Thanks, Ira. Right.
Thank
Thanks, Amanda. So moving on to the Women Working in Men's Health Award. Let me first say, we are proudly apologetic for the fact that, generally speaking, when you go to our gatherings about men's health, it's mostly blokes. Health and social care and community services are not traditionally places where you find men. There's usually more women than men. And so to bring together blokes working in those places to talk about how we can improve the lives and health of men and boys is a really important thing. And it's a particularly important thing if you get into the world of Indigenous men's health, where the world of men's business is such an important part of health and healing. And at the same time, there are some amazing women working in the world of men's health. And so for the first time this year, we thought it would be interesting to see if we would get one or two nominations if we created a category called Women Working in Men's Health. Well, we were inundated. There's clearly a lot of people out there. We got nominations from men and from women saying they really want to acknowledge these women for the work that they do. So firstly, Katie Wolf, who was shortlisted last year as well, who I'm sure you know if you're up in Darwin, inspired by the experience of her own dad with prostate cancer, set up the Run With Dad event, which is every Father's Day, and now raises a huge amount of money for prostate cancer support. And a lot of that goes back into things like prostate cancer nurses for men in the NT. Moving on, she's sent her apologies, she can't join us today. Moving on, it's I always get it wrong, Lacey. It's Lacey, not Lackey, Lacey? It's Lacey, isn't it?
Lacey, yeah.
Sorry.
That's all right.
Lacey is someone who just burst into our world about just over 12 months ago before the last awards. Super positive about supporting initiatives around men, particularly young men, and actually very involved as well as working in the NT with helping to create the Manifest event in Sydney last year, which was a national event, which has also been nominated for an award in the New South Wales category. It's always hard to actually identify what you call Lacey in terms of which organisation, because you're just this individual life force, but I'll allow you to explain who you are and why you're here, Lacey.
Okay. Hi, everyone. So, I kind of work around a lot of areas. I guess my main interest is around youth development within the youth justice system. So I've been doing that for the last 11 years. Pretty much have had a new job every year, but I would say I'm a project manager, program manager. Last year, I spent a lot of time in the youth diversion space up in Darwin, youth crisis housing, and young parenting programs for young males and women. I'm super passionate, I guess, around men's health expanding beyond physical health, I guess. So looking at kind of a heart-centered approach for men, encouraging vulnerability. One of the reasons I joined Manifest was actually to share a personal story around my own father who's struggled with depression, and to speak, I guess, from a daughter's perspective to a father, and looking at society's definition of men being a provider, and taking that off of, I guess, just providing money, but also being a provider around love and laughter and support, and really changing that stereotype. So I guess I'm just on a mission at the moment, within the youth justice system, and then also with any youth development programs, to really make sure that if it's not proper for a woman to be actually facilitating a program, to make sure that there are programs developed for young men that encourage vulnerability to speak, and also working with an Aboriginal Torres Strait Islander communities, as Glenn mentioned, around men's business, to make sure to set up, I guess, the correct ways to shadow and to capacity build in communities, so that there are more men's programs that are led by Aboriginal males in the community. So,
great, thanks,
yeah, thank
Lacey.
you.
Thanks for the work you're doing, and great to see you acknowledged in this award category.
Thank you. Feeling honored. Thanks.
Very deserved. And so, third in this category, we have Sally McDonald from AusHelp Northern Territory. AusHelp is a member organisation. We mostly deal with the head office down in Canberra, but in recent years, AusHelp has been developing some really innovative workplace-based programs in the Northern Territory. And when we put out a request for nominations, it was Sally's name that came back. Sally, did I see you here earlier? Was Sally here?
Yes, I'm here.
Go ahead, Sally. Tell us about yourself and what the work you've been doing.
Oh, okay, so I'm a nurse with AusHelp and have been for the last 3 years. And my role in the AusHelp organisation is to deliver the tradie tune-up program, which is a on-site health check in hard-to-reach and high-risk workplaces, so anything from stations to mining and construction. And it's just we take this service. I think the best part about this service is that we take it to the people, to the guys, and it's much needed and much loved, and I feel really privileged to be in a position to do that job.
Great. Well, thanks for being here, Sally. Obviously, great work you're doing. You're very welcome. So, final nominee for the Northern Territory is in the significant response to COVID-19 category. You probably noticed there's been a bit of a pandemic. We've been amazed at how rapidly our sector has responded to the challenges, particularly when you consider just how many of those organisations are working on the low budget and working with volunteers. So we thought it would be interesting to acknowledge some of that work by putting out requests for people to nominate organisations that had responded particularly well to COVID-19, and making construction in the NT was acknowledged. I think, Matt, you're here, and I think you'll be able to say a few words about the work that mates have been doing in the NT during the lockdown.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks, everyone. And also, everyone who's nominated, you do amazing stuff. So hats off to you. I know a few of you. I know what you do and day to day, and it's good to see so many new faces as well. Mates, what do? We do a lot. We go out, we train up the workforce in how to look after people and when they're doing it tough. And if they're doing it tough, they can use our 1300 number anytime, anywhere, and they can get that connection in to help through our case management team. Through COVID-19, we basically, as soon as it hit, we all, like everyone, didn't know what was going to happen the next day, the next minute, or whatever it was going to be. No one knew. So we knew what we can do, and that's we can step up. So we stepped up, we went out and we said, hey, look, we're going to rock up to your work site, but we can do it in ways that are safe, and we can do that however you wanted to do it. We had some great stories. I mean, Justin, he's here in the room as well. He knows some of the stories that happened down in Queensland, up here in the NT, and also down in New South Wales. But one for me was I actually went out to a work site, parked the car in the car park, and just sat there over the bonnet and had a catch up with a couple of lads and had a coffee and just sort of said, you know, we're 1.5 meters apart around a ute tray, and it's the same across the bonnet. So we kept doing that. We let the industry tell us, you know, what they wanted, and they wanted us there, and they wanted us, you know, rocking up to their site still. So where we could, we did, and we obviously did it in a safe 1.5 and all that sort of stuff. But we also just made sure that people who wanted that face-to-face still got some form of face-to-face, and they still got some sort of, you know, care and support from people who want to support them, which was me at that point.
Thanks, Matt. Great to see the work that you're doing acknowledged here. Thanks for all you're continuing to do. This time last year we didn't know you, and now it's like you're like a.
Now you're sick of me, Glenn. You can say it. You can say it. You're sick of me. Yeah.
Yeah, that's because you can be sick of good friends and family, right? Brilliant. So look, that's it for the Northern Territory. So what we do now, in no particular order, they're all winners clearly, and the nature of awards is that we have to pick some people and not others, but that's entirely on the popular vote today. And remember, for all those who don't win the popular vote today, even if you haven't made the top three, you're still in the running for a national award in your category, which will be done not by a popular vote, but by a judging panel. So, in no particular order, ladies and gentlemen, this is where you do the virtual clapping and thumbs up and drum roll on your, whatever you want to do, make some noise for the top three. It's, we have, in no particular order, Mr. Jason Bonson, we have Katie Wolf, and we have Sally McDonald, and I can now announce the winner of the Northern Territory Men's Health Awards popular vote this year is going to be announced after the Queensland shortlist. Oh, I know. Building the tension. Okay, down to Queensland, folks. You're going to, look, if I told you now, you folks in the Northern Territory, to be off for a tea break and leave the Queenslanders on their own. Not fair. Not fair. So they've listened to you. Now it's your turn to listen to them. We're building a bit of connection across the boundaries now that they're open again, are they, the borders? Now that the borders are open, we better get to like each other, right? So here we go. I need to share the next screen, which is for the shortlisted category. So I'm not going to say much about the categories now. You know what the categories are and what they're all about. So I don't know if any of these guys, these awesome guys, are actually in the room. They're probably busy out making a difference. So I'm just going to go through the first three all together. I tell you, there's something in the water in Queensland in terms of like individual blokes out there, you know, making a difference in their community. We could have had 10 blokes shortlisted here, but the ones that have been picked out. Josh Quarmby from Blokopedia. Go and check out the Blokopedia site. Started as a blog, now he's doing amazing things, workshops, getting out to the community. He even came up to the NT to run a workshop with the NT government a little while ago, and is growing from strength to strength year on year. And you can engage with what they're doing online. Go and check out Josh's work. He's a local hero, but he's having a national reach. Another bloke who's like a ball of energy is Sam Parker, a part of what I call the grassroots men's mental health movement. It's a bit like the Sheds movement of 25 years ago, when the sheds started to bubble up all over the place, and now there's 1,000 sheds and more sheds in Australia than there are McDonald's. Well, now we have all these local men's mental health groups, often voluntary, nearly always peer support, often meeting at barbecues or getting together for walks. And Sam Parker's Grab Life by the Balls on the Sunshine Coast is one example of that. Going out to FIFO sites, setting up barbecues down at the various beaches on the Sunshine Coast, and spreading around the country where there's Grab Life by the Balls groups setting up beyond the Sunshine Coast. Don't think Sam's here. I know he's super busy. And then Lackey, who's an absolute legend in Toowoomba, who he has just got this slightly different from the other guys. He hasn't got sort of groups spreading out all over the country, but in Toowoomba, ask about Lackey, or it's Lockie, isn't it? Ask about Lockie, Lacey, Lackey, Lockie. I'm very confused. Mr. Stewart, to me, Lockie Stewart, the man that can. He's got this amazing networks of blokes going through his Man That Can program, and absolutely loved by them. And you can see that with the comments that came back with all the votes that he got. And another absolute bloody legend, moving on to lived experience in Queensland, but not just in Queensland. He's a national celebrity. In fact, he's probably a global superstar by now. Really well known across both the suicide prevention sector and the men's health sector. Wonderful man. I think I can call him a bit of a friend. Been around for about 3 years now, as far as I've known, but been around for a lot longer, I reckon. It's Justin, you can introduce yourself. You're a lived experience speaker. You know how to speak.
Oh, there you go. Thanks, brother. I'm a bit older than 3, but yeah, I've been for a couple of years. Hey, look, first of all, what a privilege to be amongst so many incredible people, mate. Like, honestly, every single person on these lists, the whole list, you know, all throughout the country, are people that are trying to make a difference in the lives of those doing it tough, you know, and what a privilege to be amongst them. So, look, I work for Mates in Construction. I do my Are You OK stuff, my Movember stuff, my Blokopedia, my Trade Mate, all that sort of stuff. At the end of the day, I want to support every single person that's doing amazing things in this sector. You know, it's all about, every single one of us has a story, and usually it's that story that helps us, you know, drives us to do what we do to make lives better, and lives better for men and for young men. It's just, yeah, absolute privilege to be here, mate, and to be nominated. I'm very grateful for that. But yeah, I just tip my hat and salute every single one of you, because you know, without you, we have a very uncaring world. So it's for people like you that I'm here to try and support you and everything that you do. Cheers, guys.
Thanks, Justin. You are such a big-hearted bloke, and thanks for the difference you clearly make, not just in being out there sharing your story, but here you are doing all that work for Mates now as well. It's been fantastic to see your journey over the last sort of 3 or 4 years. You just seem to do more and more each year. And always bring magic to the room. So thank you. And thanks for your generosity as well, Justin. So next 2 programs, I know we've definitely got in the room. So I'll let them do the talking. Firstly, Camping on Country. We weren't quite sure where to locate Camping on Country. Was it over in WA with Ernie Dingo? Was it in the NT? Because you guys are doing lots of camps out in the NT. But I think the address where the mail goes seems to be Yeppoon, which is just up the road. And Lomas joining us, who's the general manager, I think, is in Cairns. So hopefully we've got the right spot in terms of Queensland, but clearly making a difference around the country. Lomas, the floor is yours, my friend. Tell us about the amazing work you guys are doing. Just need to make sure you're unmuted.
There we go.
There we go.
All good? All good. Listen, first of all, thanks to the voters for the nomination, and congratulations to everyone else who's been voted for these awards this year. Quite interesting Camping on Country, because we look at the participation of the men in the community and the men that have put their hand up saying they want help, or they want to share their experiences with the rest of their community. So I really put my hand together to all the communities that we've had contact with, over the last 3 years, who have wanted to be a part of the Camping on Country movement, but also the ones who've always kept in touch and have told us what's going on, why they want something like Camping on Country there, and to really connect with us and the other men right across the top half of Australia. So we really looked at the songlines, how we connect with the people in the right community, so that when we're traveling from one community to the other, we understand the cultural protocols around who we need to speak to in the next community, because the songlines start here and they finish here, and then they continue on. So, following those protocols, it was quite easy to really connect with community, and for people to know that the referral, I suppose, that came from the last community came through the channel that it needed to come through. So, we were really just following what the community wanted and have wanted to do for a really long time, and that's to take control of our own well-being.
That's wonderful. It's wonderful work you're doing. I had the honour of seeing your presentation at the Natco Oka Day event, and I was just sitting there going, "This is extraordinary." And then to see some of the videos of the way you've been able to just give us a little glimpse inside, because I know it's often very sacred and very secret, and importantly secret work that goes on in those kind of sort of circles and around the fire. And but you've allowed us to have a little glimpse of the important work you do, and I think it's really valuable, because outside of the world of people doing men's work, people don't always understand the simplicity of actually. It may seem simple, but it's deeply, deeply profound. And what's sitting around a campfire and getting on country got to do with diabetes and heart disease and suicide? To the medical mind, it's kind of like, that's not health, but boy, that is health. That's that cultural, spiritual healing that you guys do so well, and are starting so generously to share with the rest of us, so that we can get an understanding of it, is superb, Lomas. And I had a very long conversation with one of our board members, Stu McMinn, this morning, who's based in New South Wales and an Aboriginal men's health worker, and he was blown away by finding out more about the work that you've been doing. So thank you, and to all the team. It's and to the men that you work with. Right?
Yeah, they have been very, I suppose, give us a lot of hope, because we look at a lot of the stories that are coming out of communities that are very negative, but all these little pockets. And I think that's the thing that's really inspired me. Is I've always been used to working in my own community, in my own safe space, but to travel into all these other different communities and see that there are all these little groups of leaders all over the country, and it's just connecting those guys to find the support that they need. For their own community.
Yeah, wonderful work. Thanks for being here. I really appreciate you taking time to join us today.
Thank you.
And stepping away from cleaning the car, I think, wasn't
it? Thanks for that too.
Yeah, it got you out of it. Yeah, it'll still be there tomorrow. Great, thanks, Lomas. So, very different, but another really great organisation back in Toowoomba. What's in the water in Toowoomba is the older men's network, which demonstrates there's sheds are great, and there are other ways of working with older men too. And TomNet, the older men's network, when you find out what they do, you think, we need one of those in every town and city. But at the moment, we've just got one in Toowoomba, and I think I saw Anthony. Let us know what you're all about, Anthony.
Thanks, Glenn. Look, we're just really happy to be part of this whole forum. We've been blown away by some of the meetings that we've been part of. So thank you for that. And congratulations to all the finalists and everyone that's involved in it. But look, what we're about is trying to make a difference in older guys' lives. So we're talking fellas 50 plus, those that are considering retiring, going from a whole, working every day to doing nothing. For a lot of them, and a lot of fellas struggle with that. So we try to reach out to those fellas and help them and manage their retirement. But then we also help those guys that are already retired. So, you're looking at 50 years right through to, death, I guess. No other way to put it. And, a lot of those guys are struggling with retiring. They sit around and play Sudoku all day, and they don't have any friendships. They don't see anyone. They might have lost their partners, their family are all around the world. They see no one. So what we do is we offer them opportunities to get involved in stuff. Networking with other fellas in similar situations. Volunteering is huge with us. Mentoring disadvantaged youth, barbecues. We do a lot, and just trying to make a difference, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, fantastic. Great work you're doing, Anthony. And I know you've got you've got plenty of work to be doing just in Toowoomba, but if you could sort of get a bit of a focus on getting a few more up and running in the rest of the country next year, that'd be champion.
Yes, we'd love to, but yeah.
Great. Congratulations. Very well deserved. Yeah, and thanks for referencing the forums there. I've been on Zoom myself since the 1st of June, pretty much. I forget what the real world looks like, but it's been an amazing experience because we've held a whole host of forums around different populations often. So we had an older men forum, which Anthony was referring to. And you know, spending time to engage with people working with different populations is really important. It's been fantastic to see just in these awards. We've had, you know, people working with younger men. We've had people working with Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander men, with older men like Tomnet. We had Ira, who represents the LGBTIQI plus community. And our next contender, another individual who sort of came across our radar through last year's Men's Health Awards and is an amazing champion for rural blokes, and she's a woman, so she's in the women's category, but she could quite frankly be in any category for the work she's doing. It's Mary O'Brien from Are You Bogmate? Mary, would you like to say a few words?
Thanks, Glenn. Look, really privileged to be in such great company, and everyone who is doing what they're doing in their individual demographics. I think it's wonderful work and honoured to be involved. So my work is mainly with rural men of any part of the country, and just really breaking down that stigma and talking to them in their comfort zone, meeting them in their comfort zone, and putting, I guess, the mental health message into a more user-friendly version for them, and hopefully a way they've never heard it before. So thanks for having me, and congratulations to everybody.
Thanks, Mary. And did you manage to bring the ABC with you?
Yes, I did. I have landline here in the background, behind my virtual background. So apologies for not looking at the camera, because I've got lights and camera on me and I've got to turn a certain way. So
okay.
Yeah, but thanks for allowing us to do that.
Yeah. So we may only have a small gathering today, but we've got landline here, folks. Make sure you've got your best shirt on. Thanks, Mary. Thanks for what you're doing. You're doing fantastic work, and you've been a great contribution, clearly not just to the blokes in your community, but you know, coming along and joining the forums we've been doing, working with rural men. We can see you connecting to people all over the country, working with rural men and helping inspire others to make a difference too. So thanks for what you're doing.
Thanks, Glenn.
So I've noticed got mates in construction. I'm going to just share this. Matt, you've managed to get mates in construction twice somehow. I'm not going to let you get away with that, I'm afraid. It's mates in construction, Queensland and Northern Territory. So you're running in the Northern Territory category because that's where your award came from. So which leaves us with Deadly Choices. I don't think anyone from Deadly Choices is here, but for those who don't know, go and check out the Deadly Choices website, because they are an absolute awesome example of how do you actually make boring health messages that we all heard a million times before actually accessible to people. And they use sport, and they're particularly focused on Indigenous health, and a lot of Indigenous blokes really love what they're doing. They've got a lot of great sporting legends as champions to engage people, and they're not just tokenistic. These are like, you know, people like the sprinter, the Olympic sprinter Patrick Johnson, who's, you know, out there on a daily basis, connecting with blokes around their health. He's not just a tokenistic kind of person saying, "Oh, fellas, you know, eat more fruit," and then going back to doing something else. They've got a whole host of great advocates, and I'm really pleased to see that they've been acknowledged for the work that they do. If you've not seen it, keep an eye out, because before long you'll see someone wearing a Deadly Choices footy shirt, which is one of the things that they do to encourage people to take a health check. They get the reward often of a Deadly Choices footy shirt, and they're damn fine. They're deadly. Them footy shirts, they're deadly. They really are. And for the Queenslanders, they've got both maroon and the other colour as well, because apparently there are two colours of state of origin rugby shirt, but they've got the maroon one and the that other colour, whatever it is. So that brings us to the end of the nominations. So this final bit will reach our peak of acceleration as we get to the point of celebration, ladies and gents. So I'm about to announce the top three. And remember that if you don't make the top 3, you're still in the running for a national award, which in your category, which will be voted for by judges and announced tomorrow. I know for a fact that there are some people here today who aren't in the top 3 of the people's vote, but they are in the top 3 for a national award. We'll be letting you know about that by email in the next sort of day. But I encourage you all to come to celebrate the national awards tomorrow too, particularly some of you in the room, because there might be some winners from Queensland and the Northern Territory at a national level. I think there might be. So the top 3 in no particular order. So please do your virtual drum roll, your Zoom hand clapping, get your thumbs up and your claps out, and give up an applause for 3 people who've been shortlisted. We have popular vote, Justin Guillange. We have Sam Parker, Grab Life by the Balls, and we have Mary O'Brien of Are You Bogged, Mate? And of those 3, the individual that got the most votes is going to be announced after the Northern Territory winner, because we like to keep you hanging just a little bit longer. So I am going now to go back to, I've got to get the slides ready for this, because we do the reveal by way of slides. So thank you all of you for giving your time today and so generously sharing. Just want to check around the room. Has anyone's not had a chance to say something? I'm going to go to Kev James from Queensland. To give us his 30-second version of the great work that you guys, not even nominated this year, but as an example of great work that's going out there, not even being acknowledged, while I go and find the slide. Kev, introduce yourself to the people so they know who you are and what you do.
Thank you, Glenn, and there's some awesome people here today, and I had the privilege of meeting Glenn last year in Brisbane during the awards ceremony, and he's like a dog with 6 tails. He's a busy lad, and I really appreciate everybody and the great work that they do. Circle of Men, we visit 15 nursing home facilities in Brisbane, and we talk to the gents there who are over 80 for 90 minutes once a week. They love it, and a bit like Tom Net, we try and encourage these guys to remain socially connected, because that's the biggest killer of these guys, is just sitting there and withering on the vine, for want of a better word. So yeah, we enjoy it. The volunteers get a hell of a lot out of it, and it's great, great work, and it really is rewarding. So thank you for the opportunity, Glenn, and well done everybody else. Fabulous.
Thanks for being here, Kev. I love these events. I never cease to be blown away by the huge range and diversity of fantastic work that happens from individuals like yourself, volunteering, running off the sniff of an oily rag, up to the larger organisations with funding like Mates in Construction. You're all doing amazing work, whether it's a paid role or a voluntary role. I know none of you sort of do this and sort of stop at 5 o'clock. It's a passion. Yeah, everyone in this sector is passionate about making a difference for men and boys, which is why I love working in this sector. So here we go. Back to the Northern Territory. We've got Katie Wolf, Run with Dad. We've got the legend in his own lifetime, Jason Bonson, who's been doing extraordinary work in the men's health field for many years, and Sally McDonnell from OzHelp. And the individual who got the most votes in the popular vote will be revealed now by way of screen share. It's Sally McDonnell. Sally, you've got 30 seconds to thank everyone in your life. In true Oscars style, try not to cry. Or cry if you want to.
Everyone. And yeah, I agree with whatever the notion of today. You know, everyone's doing brilliant work. Yeah, and very privileged to be part of this. Great.
Thanks, Sally. It's truly deserved. Really pleased to see you picking up the vote for the territory by giving the most votes. So I'm going to now prepare. Thanks for being here. I'm now going to prepare for the Queensland announcement. But was that a Sammy Parker I saw in the background? If so, it was. Unmute yourself, Sam Parker. So because we now got a full bronze, silver, and gold. Sam, say a quick hello and where you're from and what you've been up to.
G'day everyone. G'day Glenn. And thanks for having me. I started an organisation which is now a charity called Grab Life by the Balls. We have very laid back, casual hangouts with blokes just to create a space for guys to connect, not necessarily always talk about their feelings. So in essence, we're championing mateship for its positive and proactive benefits to men's mental health in particular, and to, as obviously try and reduce the risk factors of situational distress, being the main cause of suicide.
Great. I'm glad you could make it, Sam. I know you're super busy, but you've made it in the top 3 and you've got here just in time to find out whether you are the winner or not. So we have Sam Parker. Queensland, top 3. Sam Parker, Grab Life by the Balls. We have Justin Guillange, the experienced speaker, now working with mates. And we have Mary O'Brien, Are You Bog Mate? By way of sharing of screen. Let's have some tension. It is, I can reveal, this year's winner of the Queensland Men's Health Award popular vote is not, no, it's not, it can't be Sally. Have I shared the right screen? Did I share the right screen there? Yeah.
Yes.
I did, good. Sorry, I kind of I killed the drama then a little bit. Mary O'Brien of Are You Bog Mate, you've shown up so large in the men's health sector for the incredible work you're doing, taking a stand for blokes' mental health in rural communities. You'd like to say a few words?
Thank you so much. Really appreciate all the support from Men's Health Australia. And look, this is for the blokes out there in the bush who are not getting the spotlight shone on them. So hopefully we can raise a bit more awareness about rural men's mental health and lots more men. So that's great. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
You're very welcome. A worthy winner, and all of our candidates today are truly worthy of an award, but we can't give one to everyone. Your certificates are in the post. And please come and join us tomorrow because we'll be announcing who's won the national awards in each of those categories. I've got a Zoom thing in 14 minutes. So I'm just going to leave the microphone open for people to say goodbye if you want to, and hello. But I'll come to Greg to officially close today's event on behalf of the Australian Men's Health Forum. Greg Milan.
Thank you. I was just in a chat box thanking Mary for that award and that great work. Everyone who's been in this today is a winner. People doing amazing things across Australia that we know. The hardest part of this, I think, for me and for people like Glenn, is actually giving someone an award, because the field is just amazing. People are doing great things everywhere for different types of men. I really appreciate all the work that you're all doing. And it's just going from better and better. Year by year, we're getting better. We're getting more, new projects every time we do this each year. So thank you all very much for being part of the awards, but also being for I know others have been a part of Men's Health Connected. I do hope you will turn up to the national awards tomorrow, because you're all the winners have been put in for a national award tomorrow. So we'd really love to see a big crowd there tomorrow afternoon at 3:30. Thanks to Glenn, and thanks to Sharon and Kim, who are also in the room, but thanks to all of you for the great work you've been doing. And I think we're getting the move on because Glenn has to go to another Zoom meeting, I think.
So I'm going to be broadcasting live on Men's Health TV on our Facebook channel, Men's Health TV. We have an event at the moment every Friday at 5 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time called the Men's Circle Meetup, where we bring together leaders from different men's circles and gatherings. So that's starting in 12 minutes, and they're probably going to get into the room. So I'm going to have to say goodbye, folks. I look forward to doing it all again in person next year.
Thank you.
Thank
you all.
I'm going to turn your mic on and say goodbye as you leave. You've got about a minute or so to do so, and then I'll start having to kick you out, I'm afraid. Take care. Thanks, Anthony. Thanks, John Hapner. Yeah. Thanks, Marcus. Thanks, Lacey. Thanks, Alan. Sam. Good to see you. Well done, Sally.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lomas. Well done, Mary. Well deserved.
Goodbye. See you, everyone.
Good night, all. Good night, John Boy.
See you guys. Take care. Bye.
Good night, John Boy. I want to go out to Cairns and see you, Loma, sometimes. So I need a trip. It's getting a bit cold down here in central Queensland.
Thumbs up.
Come and get some of your sunshine.
Will do. Take care.
See you soon, my friend.